Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are, everyone. Welcome back to hashtag Keep the Flame Alive. It's been a long time since the last interview with John Core. I've had a bit of time out for Christmas and burnt my arm. And hopefully everyone will have a good 2021. 2020 is best forgotten, kicked up the ass and thrown out the room. So now, before we progress and I introduce my guest, I'd like to acknowledge the two sponsors that we have that keeps us alive and keeps us going. One is Aiki TV Online, and two is Shindokan Books. So thank you very much to Shindokan Books and aikitv.online. And my guest today is Jer Ryan. Jer is a Nidan in Shodokan Aikido or Tomiki Aikido, however you want to call it. But there's also another side of him which we'll touch on. So if you run a dojo, if you run a school or whatever, this is going to be the most important interview for you. Jer, welcome to the program, and I hope I got your name right.
Yes, perfect, Sensei. Thank you.
Jer, how long have you been doing Aikido for?
About 7 years. I joined the class with my girls. I have two girls, and I wanted them to do something in the martial arts. I wanted to keep away from striking martial arts because they were girls. Maybe that was a bit of a sexist view of it, but I stumbled across the Tomiki Aikido club locally here because there was an advert for parents and children, and I said,
when you say here, can you say where you're from, please?
Yeah, I'm from Dublin, Ireland, and I live in an area called Tala, which is a little bit like bandit country. It's a bit rough, but it's still a very nice place. And I was just looking for something for my girls to do in the martial sense. I have a background in Wado, karate and stuff like that. So I wanted my girls to have something of that nature, the Japanese culture, the martial culture in their life somehow. So one of my things as a parent is to do stuff with them outside of school to just give them a wider view of the world. So they kind of have to do the martial arts classes and the gymnastics classes and the swimming. They're just life skills that I felt that they had to do.
Okay. And focusing on you, and are they still training? Have they left or?
No, they're still training, thankfully. One is 17 and the other is 13, and I have a little 7-year-old starting next year if the virus abates.
And how long have you been running your own dojo?
I haven't been running a dojo. The dojo is run by Keith McLean Sensei. I'm an assistant coach.
My apologies there. So yep. And what sort of numbers do you have in? Just to give us a view of, because I've never interviewed anyone from Ireland before.
Yeah, we've got very good numbers. Before the pandemic, we were very, very busy. We had a waiting list for our two classes, the youths and the beginners, the small children. We call them juniors, and we had a fairly robust adult class. Now the adult class was the smaller one. It was about 14 to 20 members depending on the time of the year, and it was about between, let's say, 15 and 20 in each of the classes. The classes were divided up into 6 to 12 and 12 to 16.
Okay.
And then the adults.
Now, I got to ask you about Narayama Sensei and your experiences with him. I have great respect for the man, and I was Izuke many times in the 80s and 90s, and I want to know what your impression of him was and your experiences with him.
Yeah, I suppose when you meet somebody who's the head of your organization or the head of part of your organization, you have great expectations. At least I did. I'm an older head, and I think I can see through bullshit quicker because I have a bit of experience of different martial arts and stuff. I was blown away, really. The guy is quite old now in respect to modern martial arts, but he still has it. I've seen him perform. I've seen his ukes. I've seen him right up close, and he's just amazing. And it's not just like you come and you see an actor and you say, oh my God, there's whoever it is. No, it's just the feel you get off him, the honesty of the guy. He puts it on the line in front of you. In other words, you can see any mistakes that he makes. If he makes a mistake, which to be honest with you, I can't really identify, but It's just, I suppose, you can see so much more in the Aikido when he demonstrates a technique than let's say some of the lower senseis in the UK or Ireland. There's just no comparison. And the smoothness of his technique, the relaxation of his technique, and the reaction of his ukes.
He just took me totally by surprise when I first met him, and his speed, timing, power, and most of all, his smoothness. I'm a small guy, and I can feel it when someone bumps into me or does something rough on me. His smoothness, his timing, his speed was amazing. And the power that he generated from his hips was like, he threw me 2 meters easy, many a times. And, you know, I've always said if I wasn't doing Yoshinkan Aikido, I would have started Tomiki Aikido after meeting him.
Yeah, I've great respect for you now, because it takes somebody with a solid mental capacity to uke for Narayama Sensei, I would imagine.
It was interesting because when he did stuff on me, his deshi said that he'd never done that in Japan. He was doing it on me, and they'd never seen it before. And they said they felt because I trusted him and he trusted me, and there was, I felt comfortable. At one time, all my students thought he broke my neck because I was prone. My head was in his elbow, and the rest of my body, neck down, was about 90 degrees.
Yeah.
But I was fine. I was fine.
Yeah. I know that technique. I've seen some of his students apply it to some of our students and myself, and it's just a fabulous technique.
Yeah, and he just whips it off his hips, just amazing. Yeah. Okay, so now we go to the real stuff that we're here for. Jer has. Okay, I'll let you talk about what you do, Jer.
Yeah, sure. I'm a founder of a new startup called subsninja.com, and it's basically membership management for clubs. And I suppose my background is a long background in web application development and website design. So that's my background, basically. I'm a techie, a designer, an engineer, a software developer. I suppose in respect to how this applies to Aikido is when I joined our club, I was a bit afraid that the club had gone into a little bit of a decline, which clubs do from time to time. And I was scared more for myself in that I had invested 3 to 4 years in learning Aikido. And there were times when it was just myself and my sensei, and myself and one other, my sensei. And I think he got sick of looking at my face. So I said, well, there's something I can do about this. I have a lot of experience in internet marketing, and it's one of the, I suppose, key tools that are underrated by, let's say, club owners. And it's mostly because they don't know how to go about it and how to use the website as a tool to drive new members into their club.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there for a second. Now, this is for my own personal reasons. You said you have club management as well as advertising. So can you break down into the main subgroups of what you offer?
Yeah, well, the club management side is, I suppose, it's a little bit more technical in that when somebody runs a club, sometimes they dip into their own pocket to keep the club alive, and they don't keep good records. They don't know who's coming to class, who's not coming to class. They collect cash. The records of the cash are not kept very well. They don't always know their financial position. Okay, it's as simple as that. And they end up dipping into their pocket to pay for, let's say, the rental of a room, or the rental of an office, or a rental of their dojo, and they can run into trouble quite easily. It's my view, and it's just one of an accountant's view, and that there's no good reason to do that, and it takes the pressure off somebody if they know their financial position. Plus, there's a lot of admin in running a club, keeping all the members up to date. You have responsibilities in regard to GDPR here in Ireland and Europe, that you have to keep good records, that you have to protect their privacy, and all relating to that. But more than anything else, it's just having good records so that you have a database of all your members, you know who's attending class, even if it's only just for, let's say, grading purposes. You know the effort that they've put in. You can look immediately to see the amount of hours that they've done, and you know.
And does your admin system also deal with direct debits and stuff like that?
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges is payments collection. It's a challenge only for the administration side. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about subsninja.com. It's a little bit of a, I'm marketing about my own.
Yep. No, please do it.
But basically, if a member just signs up to it, they put in all their club members. Okay, I have what's called onboarding, automatic onboarding. And what that is, it takes the administration of trying to set the people up on the club out of the remit of the club owner. It sends them out an automatic email once you add them to it, saying, "Oh, congratulations on joining Untitled Tomiki Aikido. To complete your membership, please put in your credit card details and just make sure your details are up to date." And once they put in their credit card details, that's it. It's done. The club owner doesn't see the credit card details. Doesn't have any view of that. All they see is that, oh yeah, the member is onboarded now, happy days. So from that point forward, every month, there's a fee taken from the member's credit card or debit card.
Okay.
The member can, yeah.
Sorry, the Subs Ninja that debit that directly, or is there a third party that does the direct debit?
Yeah, the Subs Ninja uses Stripe, which is a payment gateway service, but it's fully integrated. That all the person has to do as a member is just put in their credit card details. They don't see any of that. When you as a club owner set up your account for the first time, you connect your Stripe account and that's it. Everything else is automated. Okay,
all right. Just I wanted to clarify that. That's cool. So, okay. Is there anything else about the admin that Subs Ninja
the second thing is roll call and record keeping. So I've seen a lot of my peers who run other dojos. I have a lot of friends who run dojos, and I see what they get up to. And some of them are trying to use Excel spreadsheet on a mobile phone to try and mark who's attended and who hasn't. Or there's a paper list that they then have to put into an Excel spreadsheet later. And they have a lot of messing around to do that. The Subs Ninja little application is just you pick up your phone as you're in the dojo or in your car, and you just go onto the thing. You just put in what class is in at the moment, and there's all the list of members in the class, and just so in, attended. That's it, done.
But not while you're driving.
Not while you're driving, no.
Okay, sorry, just a bad joke. No, I'm asking questions from my own point of view, and a lot of martial arts teachers have these same problems. So I'm with a company now, I'm not going to mention names, and they offer all that, but they're not connected to a direct debit company. So the paperwork is being duplicated. That's why I was interested to know who you work with.
Yeah, well, you see, the thing is, I am, a martial artist, and one of the verticals that I work in building software is membership management for professional associations like the Psychological Association of Ireland, the Social Workers Association of Ireland. They're my customers, and they have complex membership management requirements. So in the dojo, I was seeing all this going on and I was saying, this, like, why can't they be using a membership management system that would make their life so much easier? So I went out there to have a look to see what was out there in the market. And most of the stuff that's out in the market was feature heavy, not really oriented towards the needs of a small club, and not really connected, and took a lot of hand holding to get the club up and working, and a lot of technical knowledge. How do I get my gateway connected? How do I get the payments in? All of that. It's just too much. Dojo managers are quite busy, and they're generally not technical, and they don't have any of this knowledge. So I said, well, look, I think I can build something that is quite simple, quite to the point, just has the amount of functionality that's needed for running a dojo, and I can do it for our dojo. And that's what I did. I just did it as a selfish application just for us. But a few of my mates saw it and said, can I have that? And then that really lit a small light bulb in my head.
Okay, now quick question. It's a startup, right? So is it Subs Ninja? Is that a one-man operation then?
No, there's 4 of us.
Okay. What's the back office like? Like if we send you an email, like if I sign up with you tomorrow and I have an issue with something, or my staff have an issue, and they send an email, will it take 48 hours to get back to us? Do you know what I mean? Because some companies, they offer you the world, but the back office is really bad. Back office service is really bad.
Yeah, well, you don't know me, Sensei, but I live and die by my customer support, and I run a small web application development company as well to fund the development of these other projects that I'm working in, to bootstrap them basically. I have to get the money from somewhere. I have to pay my mortgage until these projects get up and working to an extent that they can support themselves. I have to work away on this. And I run an ethically responsible company, both from the point of view of what I charge and from the point of view of customer support. I'm obsessive about it. So you really have to connect with me to find that out.
Okay, all right. There's a challenge, people. If you're looking for a system that's going to work, I'm tempted, and I'm not just saying this, but I am tempted. One of my staff will get back. My people will get in touch with your people, Jay.
Yeah, there's no problem. All I'd say to you is it's free to use for 60 days. So you can try it out with no problems. And in the pandemic, I've waived the entire monthly fees. So people can use it basically for free at the moment.
Okay, there you go, people. And it's offered worldwide, not just in the UK.
Absolutely. Because it's a startup, I focus mostly on the payments in and around the UK and Ireland. I haven't tested payments internationally yet, but if you, let's say you're the first customer, I can trial it in you. I see. I don't know whether Stripe operates the same way in your country.
I think Stripe does, because we IKTV.online uses Stripe. So, but I'm not sure. But I think it is. Jerry, so okay, moving from the admin to the marketing, and this is what really got me intrigued by what you said off air to me. Facebook versus Google, or is that a wrong way to look at it?
Yeah, well, I'll just start from the beginning. The website is where you should be really working. I'm just going to keep this simple, because there's basic set of things that everybody can do to drive interest in their website. In other words, drive footfall into their club.
Sorry, can you say that?
To again? Drive football, to drive new member inquiries. Sorry, to drive member inquiries. Now, the thing about it is, it takes a little bit of time. There's no instant gratification here. It takes a little bit of hard work. So you have to have the martial arts mindset behind this. You have to get on the journey. But the journey itself is actually quite simple. People think there's an awful lot of techie to it, but I can break it down into a set of 3 or 4 things that people who run clubs should be doing. And within, let's say, 6 months to 12 months, the benefit, the payoff will be absolutely massive. They will start to see increased inquiries.
Don't give out too many secrets, okay? We want them to contact you and pay for your services.
No. This is entirely free. There's no point in me saying otherwise. The whole reason I did this for our club was to get our club members, to keep the members survive. And beyond I have taken the website now a little bit beyond that to build it into a resource for, let's say, club members. The thing that I wanted to see, all the information that I wanted as a student, I've put that on the club. And I have a kind of a mission to try and help Aikido quietly in the background, to help all Aikido clubs to overcome this decline, or this perceived decline. And it is only a perceived decline. It's a marketing deficit that they have. They have to move with the real world and start better marketing. In my view, that's the one thing that the Aikido community could be doing to quietly build up numbers before everybody else gets into the marketing and says, oh my God, these guys in Aikido have got the internet marketing messages and techniques correct. Why aren't we doing the same thing? So it is simplicity in itself. And when I talk about it, some of it will strike people as being obvious, but until somebody says it to you, sometimes the obvious things aren't always apparent to everybody. So I can launch into it straight away, and you can just cut in, stop me.
Jer, over to you.
Yeah, I think the best way to kind of to demonstrate this is to do a little use case, if you don't mind, Sensei. I'll talk a little bit about our club. So the very first thing that, like, when I'm sitting down with a client about their website, I will ask them all sorts of questions about their business, to learn about their business, so I can set up, so I can do the preparation, set the groundwork to set out their stall for their business. Okay, I know about your business because, you know, I know a little bit about dojos, and I've done websites for dojos before, and specifically our dojo. So the first thing is preparation. Okay, so everybody needs a website. Now, a website on its own is not enough. What you've got to do is think about it a little bit. And what I mean by that is, it's the simplest thing in the world to throw up a website, and within 4 months, when you do a search on Google for, let's say, Aikido Dublin, that, oh, I'm on page 1, great, job done. But that's self-defeating. And what I mean by that is, when I was setting out the stall for Dublin Tomiki Aikido website, I sat down with the sensei and our founder, our club owner, and I said, look, the people you want to market to are the mummies and the daddies, okay? You don't want to market to the big brutes and out there who want to kill people and, you know, fight and, you know, do self-defense to kill people and survive in the street. This, I suppose the blood of a club is its young members. There's not enough adults yet at the moment to sustain a club. So the young members are the key. So I said, if you're going to have any success and you really do want to grow, and he really did want to grow his youth classes because it's a passion for him. He's an actual teacher as well in a school. So he understands, you know, the dynamic behind teaching young people and driving the club. So I sat down and said, you've got to market this towards mummies and daddies. So I'm just going to throw up our club, and I'm just going to talk quickly about not so obvious things around it. So I'm just going to share a screen for a second. And let me just find it here. Okay, so can you see that okay, Sensei?
Yep, perfect, clear.
Okay, so this is the Dublin Tomiki Aikido website. And the first thing to notice is it might look okay to you, but it's not top-notch professional design. And no, you don't need to have a website that, you know, it looks like a modern corporate website. I know this one looks quite good, but when you look at it, the preparation is really to appeal to the mums and dads. So I've split the focus onto classes. Now, this website has got tons and tons of pages, which I'll come back to later. But mostly the focus is on these two areas here, the classes. And even on the home page, you can see I'm showing females here and I'm showing kids. So if I go into the kids classes, I have a picture of children. Now, thinking about it, mums want to see their children having a good time and happy. These are my two daughters, by the way. I try and keep other people's children's heads hidden just for privacy and stuff like that. In case you're wondering about the privacy and the GDPR issues, they're my girls and they're okay with this themselves. So basically all the pictures relate to what we're doing, gives good information and should answer the questions of the mums and dads straight off the bat. So strike a balance straight off. Oh, this is martial arts, and look, there's kids, and look, there's girls in here as well. So you're appealing to girls and boys. So I'll just scroll down to it, and there's the kids in their class doing Reiho. There's the two senseis. There's all the parents in the back. It's all set up. It all looks nice and tidy. How much it is straight off. The application form, that's a little bit about how the payment system works for them. They have to join it, so they're told about it straight away. There's an insurance application. And then beyond that, I answer all the questions that a mum or dad might want in their mind. This website is to sell to the mums and dads. So there's testimonials here from parents. There's when and how to buy your child an Aikido suit. When I go into that, for example, there's pictures of the children practicing Aikido. There's good information about the suits, when to buy, how to get them, how to tie your child's Aikido belt. Everything is here. What are the benefits of martial arts for kids? The club's children's officer, the grading syllabus, DTA members' code of conduct, protection policy. and a few other bits and pieces and stuff like that. So this website is focused completely on the mums and answering all their questions. So I'm just going to stop that there for a second.
Okay.
I'm going to show you the effects of this. So this is a Google search. I'm sitting here in Dublin, Ireland. Google knows I'm sitting here in Dublin, Ireland. So I have optimized the website for searches relating to Dublin, Ireland. Now, I optimized the website for martial arts classes, Dublin, okay? Because we'd say it's kids martial arts classes in Dublin, because that's what the mums are going to be searching for. They've never heard of the word Aikido in their life before. They've barely heard of the word karate, because that's got a much more popular kind of knowledge base. But they might put in kids martial arts classes Dublin. And if I press return on that, first off, when you look at something like this, there's a free area here that every club should be doing, and that is to put in a business profile. If you put in a business profile, when you put in a location, Google automatically throws up business profiles in that location. So every club can put up a location straight away, and they'll automatically appear in that particular location as a listing. Because I'm a little bit of a geek in terms of this stuff, when you look at my pin on the map that Google has kindly put up there, I've made them all capital letters so that they stand out. You see that there's Elite Karate Academy here. You see that there's Martial Arts Incorporated here, and lots of other little dots. But mine stands out a little bit because I've used all capitals, and I put the word Dublin in there as well. And we're here, look, on the top of this. This is free. This is without any effort whatsoever. There we are for the search, Kids Martial Arts Classes Dublin. And because I've been working at this for a while, and because I know what I'm doing, I've grabbed the top 2 listings in the free Google organic searching. It doesn't cost, these are not advertisements. These are free organic listings. Don't cost us anything. What they've costed is the effort I've spent over the last, let's say, year and a half, 2 years to get the website into this position. And I've even used some trickery here to throw some additional stuff that you won't see anybody else doing out there anywhere to try and draw your eye to the attention. So this is what's actually driving our club. This particular effect right here, this is what's driving it. So the mammies have put in Kids Martial Arts Classes Dublin. We're here number 1. We're here on the top of the listings, number 1 and number 2. And when you click that, there's a specific page that's optimized for kids classes, and there it is. And there's the kids having a good time. There's the kids. There's a couple of bullet points looking for kids classes, fun activities, looking for after school classes, looking for something exciting that your children can do. Oh yeah, I want all this as a mum. This is exactly what I need. Does your child need? I don't know what they're coming to martial arts classes looking for. So I'm saying, oh, you're in the right place here. Whether it's fun, whether it's boost their confidence, whether it's just martial arts for kids, whether it's something exciting, whether it's after school, it's all there. We may have something you're looking for. Now, at the moment, I've had to put this in because we have a queue. There's only a certain amount. Our dojo mat size is only so big, and it's just, that's a problem for us. But that's a great problem for us to be having. And that's it. So that's the magic. Okay. So how did I do that magic in the website? So the first was the preparation. You have to have your website and you have to have pages that are optimized. And what I mean by that is if I go into the kids classes here and I look at how I've optimized this, if you look at this top part here, it says Aikido, martial arts classes for children, juniors, and youths. So it's very important to call the page, describe the page what it's about. And I've made sure I've had the word martial arts classes for children on this page. The URL, what the page is called in terms of the tech, it's called Children's Classes Dublin Kids. And then I have, obviously, the subject matter on the page has to be heavy about kids. So instead of having Aikido classes here, I have martial arts classes, schedule. And I use the words martial arts in the content as well as Aikido. So I'm optimizing the page for the word martial arts classes for kids. Now, I'll just say this, one page is not enough. So that's why at the bottom, I have loads of other pages here. And if I click onto this page, for example, again, it's kids. There's a sensei, that's a visiting sensei, the leading world champion in the UK, teaching the kids some randori techniques. And they were all kind of frightened and amazed, but they look like they're having a good time. And I have martial arts training for children, and even all the images themselves, what they're called. This image is called, if I leave that there, you'll see a thing coming up, benefits of martial arts training for children. So the alt tags for the image are all optimized. The image itself is called martial arts training for children, and the content of the image is martial arts for children. And this particular page talks about the benefits of martial arts for kids. It's not talking about Aikido at all, even though the subject matter is Aikido. It talks about fitness, self-defense. So I'm just saying all the images, kids, martial arts, and even if you go to, let's say, About Us, when I was setting out the stall for the club, I said, we don't need big men grunting on top of each other, throwing each other hard. That will frighten off the mums and dads. So when I go through our coaching team here, you'll see our chief instructor, Keith. He's with one of my daughters. She's smiling. She's having a good time. She's trying to put on a technique, and he's trying to advise her. There's all his bits and pieces that let's say a mum might want to know. First aid, maths teacher, Garda vetted, and then some of his achievements. Okay, there's our other sensei, Pam Dempsey. She's a woman. She's talking to a problem child here, trying to help them out. We've all experienced somebody who doesn't want to train for whatever reason. They're sick or they just don't want to get up and do something. It's great to have somebody who is a female on the mat that can encourage. Again, it's the mums, they're looking at it and they don't want to see all men. So having a female on the mat, why not promote it, show her in action. And that's her in action as far as the mums are concerned. That's the most important action that they could see a mum doing. Again, there's her stuff there. There's me, and there's my daughter again, and there's one of our other girls. And again, what I've done here is I've just talk a little bit about me. That's all. My qualifications, just like all the other senseis, they're listed there and they're shown, so somebody can see them. So they know you've got qualifications. There's my coaching qualification. There's my Garda vetting certificate. There's my first aid certificate. So these are all tiny things, but if you add them all together, they set out the stall from the marketing point of view. And this is the preparation I'm talking about, having the website and building pages bit by bit. Now to start off, you may only have about 8 pages, but let's say every month you should add another page that's optimized for the marketing that you want to do. And the effect is when you do stuff like this. Now I've been at it a while, and I suppose I'm a bit of I won't call it underhanded, but I'll give you an example of what I mean. If I put in karate classes, Dublin, our website shouldn't appear. Okay, so you'd expect to see karate classes, but look, Dublin Tomiki Aikido, Dublin Tomiki Aikido. And then when you go down into the listings, we may not be in the lead because we're not a karate class, but look, on page 1 we're there. And you might say, well, you have no real reason to be appearing on karate class, but I prepared a page here where I target all the other martial arts in the city. So if I click on this page, if you go in to our website, you won't find this page. It's buried in the page. And I'll show you this page just as an example of a page that's marketed specifically, what I call a honeypot page, to attract searches relating to other arts. So in here I have Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, Van Damme, one of our Irish heroes, mixed martial arts in general. But basically I talk about these things. So I'm saying there's no reason why in your website you can't talk about martial arts and talk about these things and say, oh, mixed martial arts, and talk a little bit about them, martial arts on the general public. So I'm steering them from MMA into martial arts in the general public. Individual martial arts are practiced for a variety of reasons, but they don't want to be killing each other and they don't want to be part of the MMA scene or the UFSC. And then I talk about martial arts classes in Dublin. And then I introduce them gently to the martial arts of Shotokan Aikido. And then because I don't know who it is, I want to, I suppose, I want to give them something to think about in regard to the martial arts of Aikido, to kind of tweak their mind and compel their interest. So I wrote this kind of little thing here about martial arts. And then I told them about our club. And then I continue on with the momentum, why martial arts is so different, why our club is so different. Because again, you're selling against other clubs. When you arrive down here, you've got to do your hard work. You've got to say, why is our club any different? So I've prepared the answers. And you recognize this gentleman here.
Yep.
And that's us at our World Championship. That's our world team. And that's my daughter. That's my daughter. World champions. All these young people are now world champions. That's our chief instructor. That's me. That's our other instructor. And I basically set out to stall why we're the best club in Dublin and what we do, why our club and why our martial art is a great club, is a great martial art. But more than that, why our club is great. So you can read that. And all I would say to anybody who wants to borrow and steal, they're quite welcome to come, borrow and steal the content. Just rewrite it for themselves. Obviously, they're going to have to, and it's better that they do. If you copy content from another website, well, Google will penalize you if it's exactly the same. In other words, they will ignore you. So if you're copying content from another website, reword it. Okay,
problem with that, Jer, in Australia, people scroll, they don't read.
Well, that's fine.
Joke. That's a joke.
Yeah, but that's fine, Sensei. But the object here is to get up in Google. Google reads it. Google reads it all. And this is up at the top. It's called Best Martial Arts Club Dublin. Again, I'm only focused on the word martial arts. And I have the word martial art. And it's all about martial art. But nonetheless, I'm showing people, you know, why we're so good. Why come to this club? We're an active club. We go travel. We meet people. We compete. We meet the key people. They respect us enough to have a photograph taken with us.
Let me throw something at you. So what happens if in some dojos you got a teacher who's pretty famous, okay, like maybe Robert Mustard Sensei or something, and people specifically search his name out? How would you do it then? Would you highlight his name? And
yeah, I'll show you something that you'll probably not like too much. Just 1 second, I'll share this with you. I'll just go back to Google here for a second.
Okay.
So I thought you might ask this question. Yoshinkan Aikido. Okay, so we're number 2 here for Yoshinkan Aikido.
Yeah, very good.
Now that's not a big achievement. I just say that off the bat because there's no Yoshinkan clubs in Ireland that I'm aware of. So in order to get this achievement, which I did over the last month because I in preparation for maybe this interview, I have a page in here called Aikido Styles.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that to try and my first objective was in Google to try and get Aikido. So if I put in Aikido Dublin, as you might imagine, there's very, very keen competition for that term in all the clubs. They all want it. And it's been a battle with all these guys because I know quite a lot of them to try and get up on the top of the rankings. And I used sneaky tricks to get above them all up here, which they're so disappointed and they absolutely hate me for this. So the leading one is Dublin Aikido because they have a great domain. And it's very hard to beat somebody with Dublin Aikido if you're searching for Aikido Dublin, if they have that domain. However, we're second on the list, okay? And all these other guys who have been in, like our club has only been on the web, let's say, for the last 2 years, 3 years. But all these guys have been around for 14, 15, 16 years. and they consider themselves to be, I suppose, more credible as Aikido practitioners and clubs in the country rather than us upstarts Tomiki Aikido trying to take their students and stuff. But I'm just saying, I've done a lot of work to try and get up here, and part of the work was to prepare a page talking about all the other styles. So there's no reason why you can't educate the market. And I talk a lot about like Akakai Aikido, and I prepared one little paragraph about Yoshinkan, and that was enough in this case.
But you're not answering my question. What happens if, you know, say your teacher becomes famous? Would you then highlight him?
The first thing is you must have a page about that teacher on your website. So well, let's talk about Nariyama Sensei. Nari
Yama.
Nariyama Sensei.
As a M instead of it. Oh, it doesn't matter. It should come up.
I better spell his name correctly.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yep.
So
yep, there you go.
Yeah. Now I wanted this because Shotokan is one of our competitors, let's say, and I wanted our website to be the go-to place for Shotokan Aikido in the country. Now there's another Shotokan Aikido club in Belfast, and they've been around a long time, and I love those guys as well, and they're a fantastic club. But I wanted to grab the term Shotokan as well, so that people who use the word Shotokan to search rather than Tomiki Aikido would arrive at our website as well, and they do. But Nariyama Sensei is, I mean, we're Tomiki Aikido, and we are, I suppose, affiliated with the JAA for a lot of reasons. But we're still followers of Nariyama Sensei, and we go to all his seminars, and we love him, and we incorporate all his teachings into our club as well as the JAA. So I'm being a bit political here, but if you prepare a page about the famous person and there's a lot of people searching for them, that's a fantastic way to drive traffic to your website. But all I would say to you is that's great for people who understand Aikido, but that's not great for driving members to your website, new people. So you've got to keep in the back of your mind, you may have two objectives. I have a number of objectives with our website. One of them is to be the go-to place for Tomiki Aikido in our country. So I'm building loads of knowledge and a knowledge base over the years. But with my marketing hat on, every page that I build, I'm making sure it's optimized for whatever my marketing objective. And my marketing objective typically is trying to get young students and people who are interested in martial arts classes into the club. So even though I write a page about Nariyama Sensei, I might have the words martial arts in it. So if I go to this particular page, it's an interview with Tetsuro Nariyama. Now this got a lot of interest when I put it up in the community, is whether people weren't able to find it. It got about 243 pages of views and more, because people are interested. And I took the time to do the research, and I wrote, I suppose I borrowed from the great Stanley Pranin and a lot of his research and articles to write that article. But I'm just saying, over time you can build your website, and it should be somebody's ambition who owns a club to keep adding content. So in summary, right, preparation is everything. Have a good website, have it focused towards the audience that you're trying to attract, which is the mums and dads. Try and answer their questions as much as possible so that when they arrive on the website, you convert them. So that's very important. You've taken the effort to write the website, and then when they arrive, you've got to convert them. In other words, they need to have the questions that they have in their head answered, and you have to think about what is a mum going to ask and answer those questions. So once you have the good preparation done and you're adding pages over time, the next piece of the magic, which I missed a little bit, to get this achievement here, to get into the search engines, is a thing called link building. Now that's the second hand of this activity. And very simply what it is you have to get an external link from another place, preferably about Aikido, linking back into your website. And that's it. So do you understand what I'm saying, Sensei? Do you understand?
No, what do you mean by another place?
Okay, so if I do a search for Tomiki Aikido.ie, which is the URL of our website. So I'm searching for where does Tomiki Aikido appear, and obviously there'll be a lot of searches relating to our website. But I'm going to find one here. You see this goldenpages.ie?
Mm-hmm.
This link here.
Yep.
It's just a directory. And I put a listing in the directory. It's a free listing. And it has a link to our website. And it has a link to our Facebook.
And that's all you need?
That's what I mean by an external link coming in. That's what I mean by it, so that everybody understands. That's exactly what I mean. I don't mean anything else except a link from an external website coming into your website.
Would that include Facebook?
You have to build those up.
Sorry, would that include Facebook?
It includes Facebook only to a very small extent. And I'll just briefly, you can come back and ask me about the social media and how that's important or whatever. I'm focused on the website because you own the website. All the work that you put into the website belongs to you. It can't be undone by anybody else. And you get the benefit from it. So I'll just finish off this point here. You can go out there and run strategies to get links. So you can go to all the directories that you know are reputable and put in a listing that's free back to your website. But more importantly, you can go to all your friends who run other clubs and get them to link back to you. You can, internationally, people you have your friends in your network, you can beg, borrow, steal, beat them over the head. It doesn't matter. Ask them to write a little blog article about your club and get a link back from that blog article to your club. The object for you is to get the link back to your club article, not really for them to talk about your dojo, even though that's beneficial, because if somebody comes across it, they might come back. But let's say you're talking to one of your international friends, get them to write about your dojo, but most importantly, insist that they have a link back to your website. So let's say you, for example, you're in a better position having a larger network. I would say within a month, you could have 200 or 300 links back to your website. And all of a sudden, if you had kept an eye on where your position was on your ranking, within a month, you'd suddenly say, oh my God, I've gone from page 10 up to page 3. And once your website has good content in it, you keep up with that activity. Let's say once a month, try and get 2 links or 3 links. That's not going to kill anybody. It takes about a couple of hours and maybe a phone call and maybe buying somebody a beer or promising them a beer to put the link on their website. But once you have that link is worth gold. It's absolutely worth gold. So they're the 2 things hand in hand. A good website that's marketed well, that somebody has answered the questions for the target market with good content on it, and the link building. And that's it. That's the magic. If they focus just on those things alone, without getting too technical, that's the magic.
Jer, I get the feeling you could go on for hours, but time's just flown by. I just want to quickly ask about social media and the impact of Facebook marketing and how, I'm spending money on Facebook. Is it worth it? I saw that little smirk.
I would say that money is better spent in other places. It can give you an instant hit, but it could be very, very expensive. Google Ads and Facebook are not really platforms for small clubs. They're not. You have to have massive budget in order to make the best use of them. Like I manage campaigns for big companies, and they spend upwards of $2,000 a month to drive traffic to their website. But the payoff for them is one customer could bring in 100 grand, 200 grand's worth of business. So there's a business case there to be made. The link might have cost them €10 for a link, a click. A club can't afford that. A club can't afford €10 a click. They could have a budget of, let's say, 200 or 300 euros for the month. And depending on how they set up their campaign, if it wasn't set up really well, that budget could be burnt within a week. And they might have got, 2 inquiries, 5 inquiries, out of which maybe 1 student was converted. It doesn't pay for itself. So that's why I'm saying the money would be better spent in other places. Even if you had to pay for a link somewhere, that link, if it existed somewhere, might pay off in the long term in terms of your ranking. Okay, so there you go, people. Bugger Facebook. Now, next question. Clips on YouTube, are they worthwhile? Do they help? Yeah, Facebook is brilliant, and I use Facebook quite a lot, but I use it, our club uses it really as a communication tool and to put informal stuff that you don't want on your website somewhere. So I'll just share a screen quickly with you. I'm not going to take up much more of your time here. I'll just share this. So I'll go to our website again. So Facebook is important to us. And on the right-hand side, I have Facebook integrated. And I have Facebook shares inside in the page. A lot of the mums and dads are still using Facebook because they're of that generation. So it's important when you're using social media to use the appropriate social media for your marketing audience, okay? All the kids have moved away from Facebook now. They're gone. Do you know what I mean? I started with Facebook to keep an eye on what my daughters might be doing. But they've left Facebook a long time ago. Snapchat, it's other things altogether. But our generation and the generation of our target market are using Facebook. And they use Facebook quite a lot. So it's a very effective mechanism to communicate with them. Now we have our Facebook and it's there. And if I just go to it for a second, the thing to do with, I'm just going to go to my own one for a second because I prepared a little article here. So what I do is, as part of my continuing to educate on our website, I write articles. And I wrote an article late last night about Takeda Sokaku, because he's important in, I suppose, the lineage of all Aikido arts. Now, the thing to do is I'm using Facebook here, but I'm using Facebook to drive traffic back to the website. So I wrote the article first on our website, and then I just shared the link. And what Facebook did was it grabbed all of this information from our website and set up a link. There's no magic to that. All I did was put in the URL of this page. Now, this page is buried in the website, and I only wrote it last night. So it's a page a little bit about him and about his relationship with Ushiba Sensei.
Believe it or not, I read it, Jer.
Yeah, so I put it up there. Now, when I write an article, I'll put it here. I'll put it on any Facebook account that I have. Friends might share it. There's somebody who's commented on it. They might share it, they might not, but it doesn't matter. Basically, the person that has come to the Facebook page here has actually clicked it, and they've arrived back at our website. And what Google does, one of the things, the metrics that Google looks at when it's trying to rank you or to see whether you're a relevant result to show to somebody searching for Aikido, is what sort of activity does this website have? How many people are coming to it? What sort of traffic is it generating? So I try and generate as much traffic as I possibly can to the website. So people will search for Sokaku Takeda now, and eventually they'll come up like international people. And what I mean by that is if I put in a term such as dojo Japanese, in Dublin, you see, we've come up there. Now, this page has driven an immense amount of international traffic to our website. Now, I know that that traffic is not going to convert into any new members. But what it does is it drives traffic to our website, which causes Google to sit up and pay attention and said, oh, this is an active site relating to dojos and activity. Now, I've spent a lot of time doing this, and I didn't do it in one go. I started off, and I just, as I found new terms, I added them over the years, and I experimented with, Aikido, a little bit of education.
I tell you what, after this interview, your website's going to get a whole lot more hits. You just track it. Going to get a whole lot more. Yeah.
Sensei, that's my motivation to talk to you.
I thought I was working you.
No. So that's the best way to use Facebook or any social media. Write the article on your own website first. Number one, that effort that you've put in to write that article, you haven't gifted it to Facebook. You haven't gifted it to that other social media platform that's going to benefit from all that traffic and all that interest. No, you've written the article, put it on your own website first, prepare it well, put a link to it in Facebook or the other social media. The other social media will come back to your website, grab a picture, grab a bit of the content, put up a link, and then all the traffic that comes from that comes to your website, benefits you. That information is on your website forever. And over time, that information will start to appear in search engines, building more traffic over time. So use social media smartly.
There you go, Lena. Listen to that. We're going to do that with this interview as well from now on. Can I?
So YouTube is great as well, but it's great. It's great for you, Sensei, because you have followers, and it's very hard when we're on the other side of the world to, to follow people that have insights that we're interested in. So,
but look, for all of us as martial artists, our main bread and butter is our dojo and the people who come in through the dojo. So I might have followers around the world, but what keeps me alive is the day-to-day students. And so what you've said is very pertinent to all of us. This interview is going to help a lot of people, Jer. Thank you.
No, absolutely welcome.
Now, I'm going to move. Okay, if you don't mind, I'm just going to move across a little bit. And you talked about marketing deficit. You said that word in terms of we need to grab people's attention before other martial arts do, etc. So how ethical is it to maybe sell ourselves as something we're not?
So why would you sell yourself as something you're not? What do you mean?
If I'm working the word karate, if I'm working the word MMA or Conor McGregor.
Yeah. I'm not selling anything to do with karate. So what you've got to do is you've got to read the article. But there's nothing preventing me from writing about martial arts. I'm a martial artist. I love martial arts. I've settled on Aikido for loads of reasons, but I still have a love for karate, and I have a love for all the martial arts, and I appreciate them. I can write an article about absolutely anything. I can write an article about Takeda Sokaku, but when I'm talking about martial arts and I write something about karate, I'd be talking about it in respect to Aikido. I wouldn't be just putting up a page saying, come to Tomiki Aikido Karate Club. I'm not being disingenuous. I'm writing an article, but because I know about marketing and internet marketing and stuff like that, I'm preparing the page underneath with the words karate, knowing that I have a page on karate. So if a mammy is searching for karate clubs Ireland, I want to let them know about Aikido. Yep. They will have no way of finding out about Aikido other than if somebody in the Aikido community writes about karate in respect to Aikido. So you don't have to be disingenuous about it. You write your opinion about it. For example, Wado-ryu, which is the art I used to work with, has a lot of Aikido in it. It's a jiu-jitsu art. It was striking and jiu-jitsu married together to perform Wado-ryu. So there's an awful lot of Aikido in it. Now, if I had known about Aikido when I was doing Wado-ryu, it would have been so beneficial because I would have been a better karateka because of it. Because all the precepts and principles in there, they're just not looked at from the focus of Aikido. They're looked at from the focus of jiu-jitsu. Do you know what I mean? So I can talk about that legitimately and I can give my opinion about it and I write an article about it. But I know, and with my marketing hat on, what I'm doing as well is I'm writing this article with the view of I want people who are searching for Aikido in Dublin, mammies, to come across a different martial art, which I want them to know about, that there's classes in their area. They have a choice. It's not just karate. So I might say, what's the difference between karate and Aikido? One has got striking in it. We don't have striking in it. So let's say it was a girl or whatever, mammy had a girl. Well, she might veer towards Aikido because she thinks it's a softer martial art because of what I've written.
Okay, I hear you. I need, what we're talking about, ethics and responsibility, I want to throw something at you. So there's a lot of people who put stuff out about martial arts, or not even martial arts. I'll take an example. COVID virus being the China virus and a Chinese conspiracy theory, etc., etc. And people jump on that bandwagon. Or if you start something and people take it out of context, do you, as a martial artist and as a teacher, as a leader, do you have a responsibility to pull them back in on your page, on your social media page?
Yeah, you're talking about, yeah. I have 2 points of attack to, let's say, trolls and people who are talking bullshit, okay?
Yep.
Or,
Yep.
and it comes from, when I look at it, I say to myself, this comes from a point of view of lack of education, a point of view of complete ignorance. Okay, so the word ignorance has, like, it upsets people. So when you're looking at the trolling thing, you have 2 options. You want to ignore it completely, okay? And that's probably, in most cases, the best option, just to ignore it. Don't give it any oxygen. In other words, if somebody writes something ridiculous about a video that they saw that you know contains good information, you can leave that there. And if everybody ignored it, everybody would understand what was going on there. It would have no oxygen. It would just sit there.
But there's a lot of people who jump on that who are equally ignorant, and I'll use that word freely, equally ignorant towards Aikido, and they'll jump on that and build it up and build it up.
Yeah, if you've got the,
can I just explain something? I'm fairly simplistic in my view. So my Facebook page or my dojo page on Facebook is like my dojo. If you disagree, that's fine, but I'm not going to have you put shit on me and host it on my page.
Yeah, well, I do respond sometimes. And I suppose you have to have a good logical argument. You have to have a good ammunition in terms of identifying the issue that they're addressing and just make them look foolish.
Well, why not just delete them? Yeah, why not just delete them?
Yeah, absolutely. You can delete them, absolutely. But I suppose I'm looking at comments about Aikido, which Aikido people get upset about. So when you go to the Facebook forums and stuff like that, you'll see somebody throwing in their 2 cents about Aikido and saying, don't teach this shit to young people. What are you doing? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's extremely easy to counter that. Extremely easy within a few words. If you are a good writer and if you're bothered by it so much, but it depends on the forum. If it's a credible forum and you think mammies and daddies are looking at it, I will go in and I will answer it from the perspective of mammies and daddies. All of a sudden I'll say, well, it does this, this, and this for your children, end of. And I will use the opportunity, so sensei. So I'm a little bit, when I see an opportunity like that, I'll use it, I'll answer it, and I'll also point them to a page on our website that answers it in more detail. So I get 2 things from it. I'm answering it for, let's say, for the benefit of the community and defending it a little bit, but I'm also driving traffic to Tomiki Aikido website, where I've already prepared a kick-ass response to the question. And I'm also driving traffic to the website and answering the mum's questions.
You should be working for British intelligence. So, hold on. I hear you, and that's cool. My initial question, though, was about people start up a discussion as martial artists or as martial arts teachers, and other people jump on and take it out of context. Do you have a responsibility to sanction them? So someone wrote something about the COVID thing when it first came out, and I jumped on and I said, hey, that's wrong. You should, that borders on racism. And a lot of his friends who didn't know me jumped on me and slammed me. Now, he didn't say anything. Should he? Ethically, should he?
Yeah, well,
should we?
Yeah, well, when you say something like that on an open forum, you have to be aware you're going to attract all sorts of attention. So the minute you say something like that, and I don't know the exact context in where your reply was, but I reckon you were pissed off with something or somebody and you reacted. So my only advice there is to take 10 seconds and don't react, because I suppose people mightn't understand where you're coming from and they might see you a little bit more negatively than let's say,
Yeah,
your PR person would like. For example, if you had a PR person.
I do react, but in this case, it was a racist comment, and I thought about it for a while, and I thought, no, I can't let it go. I have to check it.
Yeah, well, you have to be the best judge of that yourself.
Yeah.
Your PR person might have slapped you though for reacting.
Yeah, but the thing is, do we have an obligation to police our own pages?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You do. If you're responsible for that forum, you do. You have to jump on top of it. All I would say is, rather than being aggressive about it, you just have to take the sensei's approach, saying, this is not appropriate. I hope you realize this is not appropriate. Maybe you should have a think about it. This is not the forum for this sort of discussion. There are children and other people present, and your point of view is not held by many. So there, very simply, you haven't directly attacked the person, but you have kind of shown, I suppose, your authority and the fact that you come from a position of greater experience and knowledge.
Jer, we're going to wind it up now.
Yeah.
I just, before I give you the last word, so to speak, I mean, this could be just semantics, right? But in the UK, they use the word club a lot. In Australia, we say a school or a dojo. In Japan, they say a dojo. Is there a difference in marketing when you're talking about dojo or club?
Yeah, absolutely. In Ireland, the word club, when you have to think of the mammies, what are they thinking? See, don't think about yourself from a marketing point of view. So I have the word school in Google because Google has classifications for businesses, and school is one of them, which they give. They're less hard on schools than they would on a business in terms of their promotion of you. So that's a good category to use within Google. But the mummies and the dads will be putting in club here in Dublin. I want to get them into a GAA club, a football club, a soccer club, a martial arts club. So they'll never be using the term school. So from a marketing point of view, I wouldn't be considering that as part of the thing. But all over our website, because we're a martial art, I do have the word school in there. And school is good because there's an educational perspective from what martial arts clubs do. That's very important to get across.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be a bitter pill for me to swallow, to call my dojo a school, a club, but I've always...
No, just from a marketing point of view, you don't have to call it a club, but you have to put the word club on the pages somewhere, buried it in somewhere, integrated into the content somewhere, so that you'll appear when people do searches for that word. You don't have to say, I have to switch over now to club. No, you don't.
Well, I'll give that some thought. That takes a bit of selling on my part. So, is there anything you want to add or say? Yeah. I know you could go on for hours, and
yeah. Can I change horse a little bit?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Aikido, if that's
sure.
Okay. So perfect. I'm obviously a newbie, being a second dan. But one of the things I suppose that I've seen a lot of questions asked about is randori and competition and fighting and pressure testing and all that sort of question in relation to Aikido. And there is a bit of a kickback in the Tomiki and the Shotokan, just undercurrents where people are answering questions. They're actually stepping up to the plate and answering some questions every so often about, oh yeah, Aikido does have pressure testing. Like, it's not all this, that, and the other. And it's not that Tomiki Aikido or Shotokan Aikido is any better than any other Aikido. That's definitely not the case. But there's an aspect of competition, I suppose, that I want to, just talk about from my own perspective. I'm not talking about from any other perspective except my own. And I'm old from the viewpoint of all the other club members, especially the youths and stuff. I'm a similar age to yourself, Joe Sensei. But I'm a very competitive person. And despite my age, I am mad for competition. I competed when I was doing karate. I competed when I was doing kickboxing. And I love the aspect of competition in Aikido in our club, in Shotokan. Now, I don't have that much experience of Aikido in other clubs, so it's a very one-sided, biased view. So taking that on approach, it does add quite a lot. So I made some notes there, really. There's positives and minuses in it, okay? So the minuses are fairly well understood in that there's a competition focus. And I do see some of the younger members getting so vested in competition that they leave the art behind. Now, I think one of the thinking behind Tomiki Shihan was bringing it into schools. He had to do that, first of all, to get it looked at credibly in the university. So it was a strategy that he deployed to try and get Aikido into universities, and I understand that. But he was as concerned as anybody else about the competition, the emphasis towards competition. And I've seen world champions who, let's say they achieve on the world champion stage and get world champion medals, and they come back, let's say, and they do their sandan or their godan, and they fail, and they look around to the let's say the people on the examining panel, and they're enraged almost. I've got gold medals. None of you guys have got gold medals. What are you guys doing telling me I can't get my sandan? And it's just because their focus has been so much on the competition that they lost the art, and they haven't studied, let's say, the syllabus sufficiently. They're not able to execute it. They're not able to show the principles that are asked for in the thing. So they've left the art behind, and there's a big danger that that does happen. But all I would say is they're the outliers. There's always outliers in every community. And people can't say, oh, look at what happened to judo. I mean, judo is on the international stage, and even though Tomiki Aikido is trying to get a competition, their ambition is to try and get that on the world stage as well. The dangers are that people can become too oriented, but that's outliers. I don't see that as a big danger. But on the plus side, you're fit, I'm fit, our senseis in our dojo are all fit, and we try and keep each other fit. One of my bugbears, and I don't mean this in any disrespect, is when I go into a dojo, I'm looking to the instructor for guidance, for mentorship, whatever you might want to call it. And when I see, let's say, an unfit sensei who isn't, in my mind, taking the full principle of a martial art as part of their life and has let things slip, that flags a little bell to me. Do you know what I mean? It does a bit. A martial art is a martial art. And the competition side of that addresses that considerably, in that it conditions your body. In other words, like I've noticed that when I'm studying in the dojo, one of the great things to overcome is boredom. Okay, so as an older person, I look at that, and even though there's repetition stuff, I sit down and I say, well, what can I get out of this lesson? What new thing? And I focus terribly to break the boredom of what I'm doing, to find that new thing in what I'm doing, to make it interesting for myself. But competition really helps with that, in that it ups your game. So say you're going for a grading, the amount of effort that you have to put in for a competition is, I think, 4 times the amount that I've seen people put in for their grading. They have to, in order to compete against other world champions, you really have to study the technique, because you've got referees who are 5th, 6th stands, 5 referees judging. What are they going to be judging against? They're going to be judging against how effective that technique looks, not how dynamic it is. All I would say is good referees, when they see people throwing themselves around, or when a people is, performing a kata, they'll know the difference between somebody who steps up and sticks a bit of reality into it. And generally, those are the people that win the competition, not the people who do the performance without substance. So the competition really helps with that. It gets you fit. The randori side gets you really fit, because you really have to, I suppose, exercise outside the dojo is really what I'm pointing at here. You have to go to the gym, you have to do the running, you have to put in the effort, you have to get yourself physically fit and strong to compete. There's no other way.
I'm going to stop you there for a second and take you to task on 2 things, okay? I'm going to play the devil's advocate. I pretty much agree with everything you said, but play devil's advocate. I've been doing martial arts for close on 50 years now. But, you know, in all intents and purposes, I was involved in martial arts since the day I was born, because my uncle's dojo was next to my house. And the problem with competition is that in every system, I'm not just talking about Tomiki Aikido, I'm talking about karate, judo, whatever you like, kendo, every system that's introduced competition, the competition has taken over and changed the art. And you said perhaps it's outliers, but no, that's been mainstream. And a lot of top teachers, and off air I'll tell you some names, but a lot of top teachers have admitted that the competition has changed the very nature of the art and has changed the art. And that is a real issue.
It has, and I understand the dangers of the competition taking people away from the art. However, there is one other aspect to the competition that is, I suppose, not appreciated so much. And I know that you've had a little bit of experience in that, is when you're standing in front of somebody, there's no weight divisions in Tomiki Aikido.
Yep.
Because there's not enough competitors. So I faced up against in the European competitions, one of the Georgian champion. Okay, he was twice my weight, a big, fit man. Okay, so you suddenly find out as a smaller person that your Aikido is more than just strength and your let's say your drive to achieve. You really do have to understand what it is that you're doing in a way that goes beyond what you can learn, let's say, studying kata, unless you've been learning it like yourself for many years. It accelerates the learning. And this is one of the key things I think is not appreciated. It accelerates the learning. So maybe I didn't make that point. The competition accelerates my learning in terms of grading and understanding of the art, but appreciation of the finer points of the art. So you get the opportunity. Randori is divided into different levels. So you get the chance to try all your techniques. And I'm not sure whether you are a fan of combinations or not, but combinations in Aikido are one of the most important things to achieve a result on the mat in full shiai, because just like any martial art, you can't go out and say, I'm going to throw him with my otosh. It never works. You have to disguise what you're doing. So you go from one technique to the other, looking for that little gap where the person has left an opening, and then you apply whatever technique that is in your armory that you understand is going to hit that technique. So you might go from
I understand that, but most Aikido schools, and especially Yoshinkan Aikido, evolve around one cut, one life. So you focus everything into that one moment in time. Doesn't always work. So, and then you want to have a follow-up. But the mindset they don't want to build up is where you try something half-hearted, looking for an opening. So, but you know, we're splitting hairs here. We're on the same thing.
Yeah, can I move on? It accelerated my knowledge of Aikido.
I hear you, and I'm in total agreement with you. I'm in total agreement. But I had to bring that up.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Which is you know, the nature of competition in martial arts. Now the next thing,
you're absolutely right about the dangers. I'm just saying there are hidden gems in there, and that's one of them. So I might never win a competition against a bigger person, but my win is I've gone in there against a bigger person with full intent to actually smash me into the mat, and I've survived.
Yep.
And I've had to learn how to survive, even if it's only just avoiding the guy and not throwing him.
I hear you. I hear you. Yep. The other thing is, most people go to Aikido because they don't want that confrontational or competitive situation. Should it be that they don't do any martial arts at all?
No. I suppose it brings to point another thing, pushing yourself out of the envelope, outside your envelope. I know it's something that is part of your ethos as a person, that you must continuously push yourself outside your envelope. You don't have to do competition in Tomiki Aikido.
You know, look, I've been doing it since I was 11. I live in my dojo. It's the only thing I do, right? But most people who train are hobbyists. They train twice a week, and that's good for them. They don't want to be challenged. They don't want to be pushed. And the outsiders are the people like you and me who look for that.
Well, I'll just say the experience in our club is somewhat different. Our chief instructor pushes everybody. Doesn't matter. If they come into the club looking for a hobby, doesn't matter. He will eye them up and he will push them and push them and push them. And that's what makes training in our club so good. It's
Excellent.
one of the things that makes it so good.
I look forward to meeting him sometime. He sounds like my kind of teacher.
Yeah, he's a very good guy.
I wanted something else you said, and this is you said that you're fit and I'm fit, and that's a lie. I'm not fit anymore. Too many surgeries and too many beers. But a friend of mine said to me, and he's a top karate teacher. He's trained many champions, and people would go to him and they'd want to train under the champions, and he'd say to them, do you want to train with the champion or do you want to train with the person who made the champion? Because he couldn't do all those things anymore, but he could still teach. And I know what you're saying. There's a lot of teachers who are unfit and who can't walk the talk anymore, but they did pay their dues. And their job now is to pass on their knowledge, not necessarily walk the talk, if you know what I mean.
No, I was being a bit disrespectful there.
No, you weren't. It's a valid point. It's a valid point.
No, there's loads of senseis out there that I admire, and it doesn't matter. Their state of fitness is irrelevant because I can learn so much from them. I'm just, when I walk into a dojo, when you look, you make an impression of somebody. And to me, when I see somebody who is prepared to get on the mat and be thrown and to actually let you test yourself with them, they have an extra little bit that I'm looking for. That's all I'm saying, really.
I hear you, and I'm in total agreement with you, but I had to throw that in as well.
No, you're absolutely right to take me up there.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No, that's it.
No, please. I like to give my guests the final words. So
I suppose people often ask the question, the population of Aikido has got older, and a lot of people are concerned about it. But I don't see a lot of people doing anything about it. I hear a lot of people complaining about it and saying the trends are going this way. And I mean, older heads should be looking at martial arts and seeing the divisions that are always there, the popularity that was always there, and one thing coming up and one thing going down. I think Aikido should stand up a little bit more and, I suppose, compete for people's audience, not through going against or saying our martial art is better or different, but showing more of the capability of it, and kind of demonstrating that in nice, friendly ways. I've seen quite a lot of it out there, and there's a lot of people doing it successfully. And I'll share a link with you when I come off that I think you'll enjoy, even for entertainment value.
But the problem too is Aikido's drawn upon us ourselves a bad name by all the wanky stuff that's on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's some horrible stuff on YouTube by some teachers who are really good and don't need to be doing that bullshit. Ukes who are jumping, teacher throws them this way and they jump that way. And the teacher doesn't chastise them. It just adds to Aikido being taught as dysfunctional.
Yeah. That's something that's going to have to be set aside. It is what it is. It's all out there. So what you've got to do is, you can't remove it from the internet. What you've got to do is, people like you have to just continue what they're doing. And people like me have to think out ways and strategies to, what can I do to help the community under the radar? I mean, I'm a nobody when it comes to Aikido, but for whatever breath is left in my life, I'm going to be studying Aikido, and I'm going to be trying to build promote, use strategies to kind of bring Aikido up. There's loads of ways to tackle this problem.
After this interview, you're going to be someone in Aikido. Take my word for it. You've given the Aikido community a lot just from this an hour and a half, and I thank you for it. Everyone, Jer Ryan, he put his knowledge and his everything on the line for us today. It's like a good teacher. They give you everything, asking for nothing in return. So please, what's the website? What's the app again? Subs Ninja?
Yeah, subsninja.com. If anybody's interested, they should just send me an email. Like, go to it, check it out, see if it suits what your thinking is. I've made the website.
Your email address.
Yeah, my email address is just mailbox@subsninja.com.
Okay, that's subsninja.com.
That's it.
All my American friends who don't understand the Irish accent.
Thank you very much, Sensei.
Mailbox@subsninja.com.
That's it.
Yeah, and mention #keep the flame alive, and you get a 60-day free trial. Is that right?
Absolutely.
That's me undermining you. So
yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jer, and it's been a pleasure. You've educated me and you've helped me a lot. People, I'm just going to add my 2 bobs worth here. Okay. There's 3 stages in a martial arts school. One is to attract people, and that's what Jer has done. He's helped us to understand how to attract people. The next thing is conversion. That's on you. And the third one is retention. That's on you as well. So Jer's helped us take the first step. The next 2 steps, conversion, retention, that's on you. Jer, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And you said us. We'll talk about that too. Okay. Everyone, thank you very much. And if you know anyone who runs a dojo, doesn't matter what style or what art, make them listen to this interview. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei.